1. During instruction on safe firearm handling, which teaching approach best supports adult learners in retaining the acts and prove procedures? A. Providing lengthy lectures with minimal learner interaction. B. Allowing learners to practice the process with real scenarios. C. Using complex terminology to increase cognitive challenge. Encouraging learners to memorize procedures without context. 2. When evaluating a learner's understanding of muzzle control during a safety demonstration, which method is most accurate? A. Asking them to write the definition of muzzle control. B. Observing their stance and direction of the firearm during handling. C. Quizzing them on the historical development of muzzle discipline. D. Having them recite the steps of safe storage. 3. In curriculum development for firearm training, which principle ensures alignment with federal safety regulations? A. Creating course content based solely on instructor preference. B. Consulting entertainment media for realistic scenarios. C. Reviewing existing federal firearm safety requirements. D. Using unverified civilian blogs as primary references. 4. Which communication strategy is most effective when correcting a learner mishandling a restricted handgun? A. Raising your voice to establish authority. B. Providing immediate, clear, and specific verbal feedback. C. Waiting to address the issue at the end of class. D. Allowing the learner to self-correct without guidance. 5. When mentoring a new trainee in the safe loading of a non-restricted firearm, the instructor should: A. Demonstrate once and expect full mastery. B. Provide repeated guided practice with feedback. C. Limit hands-on practice to avoid safety risks. D. Allow the trainee to experiment independently. 6. Which situation requires the instructor to apply federal regulatory compliance most directly? A. Choosing the classroom seating arrangement. B. Explaining legal transport requirements for restricted firearms. C. Selecting which training videos to show. D. Asking learners to research firearm history. 7. When assessing competency in identifying safe firing zones, the most reliable method is: A. Verbal questioning without observation. B. Written definitions only. C. Scenario-based outdoor or simulated evaluation. D. Asking learners to draw a diagram from memory. 8. Adult learning theory suggests that learners most effectively recall safety steps when: A. They engage in task repetition with real equipment. B. They listen to long recorded lectures. C. They watch the instructor perform all steps without participating. D. They memorize terminology without application. 9. A learner repeatedly forgets to check the chamber during the prove procedure. The best instructional response is: A. Remove the learner from the course immediately. B. Provide formative correction and additional structured practice. C. Ignore the error unless it becomes dangerous. D. Assign a written penalty task. 10. In a CRFSC learning environment, which factor most contributes to effective communication? A. Using precise, plain language instructions free of jargon. B. Speaking rapidly to maximize class time. C. Using humor to replace safety warnings. D. Allowing learners to interpret safety rules on their own. 11. Which evaluation strategy best verifies a learner's ability to safely load a restricted firearm magazine? A. A multiple-choice test. B. Learner demonstration under instructor supervision. C. A written description of magazine components. D. Timed quiz on terminology. 12. When designing scenarios for safe firearm transport, instructors should: A. Ensure all content reflects federal and provincial regulations. B. Use fictional laws for creativity. C. Base training on outdated standards. Limit the content to non-restricted firearms only. 13. Which method best supports mentoring learners who struggle with trigger discipline? A. Brief verbal correction only. B. Demonstration, practice drills, and guided repetition. C. Assigning them to watch peers without practice. D. Allowing them to skip trigger-related tasks. 14. When learners question the purpose of safety procedures, the instructor should A. Emphasize legal consequences and practical safety relevance. B. Dismiss their concerns to maintain authority. C. Tell them procedures must be memorized without explanation. D. Ignore questions and proceed with instruction. In demonstrating safe storage requirements, the instructor should prioritize A. Explaining distinctions between restricted and non-restricted regulations. B. Showing only decorative firearm mounts. C. Minimizing legal discussion to avoid confusion. D. Focusing solely on trigger lock design. 16. Which approach best reinforces understanding of safe carry positions? A. Instructor lecture without demonstration. B. Learner engagement in controlled practice with supervision. C. Written explanation of each carry technique. D. Watching online videos without feedback. 17. An instructor must intervene immediately and correct behavior when A. A learner rotates with the firearm pointed off target. B. A learner asks many clarifying questions. C. A learner hesitates during a step. D. A learner needs additional time to load a magazine. 18. When teaching safe ammunition identification, the most effective method is A. Instructor lecture previously recorded. B. Hands-on examination with guided comparison. C. Showing a slideshow of ammunition types. D. Having learners read long technical manuals. 19. Adult learners benefit most when instructors A. Link safety rules to real-world shooting and hunting activities. B. Avoid real examples to reduce emotional response. C. Limit practice time to reduce class duration. D. Use complex academic terminology exclusively. 20. Which teaching technique best supports retention of the ACTS procedure? A. Visual demonstration, repetition, and learner practice. B. A single written quiz. C. Group discussion without demonstrations. D. Instructor reading from the manual. 21. A key requirement for restricted firearm transport is A. The firearm must be unloaded and secured with an approved locking device. B. The firearm must be displayed publicly for transparency. C. Ammunition must always be stored inside the chamber. D. The firearm must be assembled and ready to fire. 22. To ensure legal compliance, instructors must emphasize that non-restricted firearms may only be discharged A. In a safe environment with a clear firing zone. In any private backyard. C. In public parks during off hours. D. Near roadways if unloaded. 23. A strong mentoring technique for new learners includes A. Modeling safe firearm habits consistently. B. Allowing learners to adopt any handling style they prefer. C. Ignoring minor safety errors. Assuming learners understand safety after one demonstration. 24. Which assessment method best verifies understanding of safe storage laws? A. Written recall of federal law numbers. B. Case-based scenarios requiring correct application of rules. C. Multiple choice questions on firearm history. Drawing a picture of a gun cabinet. 25. Effective communication during malfunction drills involves A. Providing concise, direct commands under controlled conditions. B. Allowing learners to improvise steps. C. Minimizing instruction to speed training. D. Using confusing terminology to increase cognitive load. 26. Which regulatory requirement applies to restricted handgun use? A. They may be discharged only at an approved shooting range. B. They may be used anywhere if supervised. C. They must remain loaded during transport. D. They may be loaned to anyone over 13 years old. 27. When learners demonstrate inconsistent muzzle control, an instructor should A. Pause the activity and re-demonstrate proper technique. B. Wait for the learner to adjust independently. C. Ask the learner to watch others without engagement. D. Continue the exercise without correction. 28. A principle of adult learning suggests instructors should A. Connect new information to the learner's prior experiences. B. Avoid referencing real-life examples. C. Teach only through rote memorization. D. Avoid giving feedback until final evaluation. 29. During a final competency test, the best way to evaluate safe loading is A. Performance-based demonstration of steps. B. Essay describing the process. C. Quiz on firearm terminology. D. Group verbal discussion. 30. An instructor maintaining regulatory compliance must ensure A. Firearms used in training comply with legal storage and transport rules. B. Any firearm may be used for demonstration. C. Firearms remain loaded for efficient transitions. D. Ammunition is left accessible on tables. 31. When a learner is uncomfortable handling a restricted firearm, the instructor should A. Provide gradual exposure with supportive coaching. B. Ignore the concern and continue. C. Require immediate full-speed drills. D. Exclude the learner from further activities. 32. Scenario-based evaluation is most appropriate when testing A. Safe direction and firing zone decision-making. B. Firearm serial number memorization. C. Historical firearm development. D. Writing definitions of safety terms. During range instruction, an instructor must intervene when A. A learner places their finger on the trigger unnecessarily. B. A learner speaks during instruction. C. A learner asks to repeat a step. D. A learner loads slowly. 34. Effective mentoring in firearm safety involves A. Continuous modeling of safe behavior and structured guidance. B. Minimal feedback to promote independence. C. Allowing unsafe techniques to encourage experimentation. D. Avoiding demonstrations to save time.